House of Representatives hails impact of technology on 2023 polls. Moves to reform administration of customs and excise in Nigeria gets nod of the House. And Naira redesign. House of Representatives expresses concern over inefficiency of internet banking services. Always a pleasure to have you join us on You and Your Reps, where we focus on activities of the House of Representatives and its members. I am Victor Azu. Welcome. The House of Representatives says amendments to the Electoral Act by the 9th National Assembly have been instrumental to improving Nigeria's electoral process through the use of technology for accreditation and transmission of results. Upon resumption of plenary after the governorship and State Assembly's election, House members are emphatic that an objective assessment of the 2023 elections shows remarkable improvement compared to the past. Our National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali captured the day's plenary.
After each election cycle, gaps are identified and changes are initiated for improvements. It is with this line of thought that House members reconvened plenary, having put the amended Electoral Act to the major test. House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila says a fair assessment may not suggest perfection of the process, but fair play is among acknowledgements that cannot be taken away from the entire process.
We need time and the deliberate efforts of political, religious, and social and economic leaders acting in recognition of the fact that while elections will come and go, our highest imperative remains the progress of Nigeria and the prosperity of her people.
The Speaker also expressed commitments of the legislature to pass the Electoral Offences Commission Establishment Bill for enforcement against violators as they undermine electoral and constitutional provisions. Political empowerment for women and other marginalized groups is another area of focus in the few months left for the 9th National Assembly.
If it's not too late, those issues regarding the empowerment of women, we still have time, hopefully, to bring one or two of them back on the floor of the House. National building is also a joint effort. Every significant advancement is the product of collaborative efforts by numerous people acting in different capacities.
Other features at plenary include first reading of 6 bills, while 2 other bills passed second reading. These include the bill to amend National Identity Management Commission.
Okay, Section 27 of the Principal Act is what we are amending. It's actually in operation by the executive, but we're only giving it the legal backing.
The House adopted 2 resolutions, the first from Uyime Idem, calling for adoption of measures to curb train mishaps across the country.
In spite of these unfortunate trends, which are as a result of the carelessness of some individuals, no one has ever been held to account for the unfortunate loss of lives.
House member Muhammad Al-Ghali urges the rehabilitation of highways in Jos Plateau State. Meanwhile, the House Committee on Public Accounts has submitted a report on the bill seeking the establishment of an independent office of the Auditor General for the Federal Capital Territory Area Councils.
And straight from that plenary session, Chief Whip of the House and Senator-elect Mohammed Tahir Mangunu spoke of his personal experience during the polls.
For my constituency, Borno Senatorial District, that I've witnessed, that I've traversed the nooks and crannies, the elections is free, fair, and credible and transparent. The voice of the people, at the end of the day, carried the day. So, the elections, not only in Borno North, but generally in Borno State, is devoid of all the rancor, ballot snatching, and what have you that normally characterizes elections in other climes in the country. And it is a reflection of the voice of the people, it's a reflection of the wishes and aspirations of the people. INEC deserves a pat on the back. Kudos to INEC for introducing technology in the conduct of the election, more particularly the beavers. It has gone a long way in curbing the incidence of people stuffing ballot without necessarily having physical human beings coming to vote. It has brought a lot of credibility to our elections, the outcome of our elections. It has exposed the problem of voter apathy in the country, that people don't want to come out to vote. And I think the relevant agencies should conduct a research on why there is high level of voter apathy on the part of voters after collecting their PVCs, not coming out to vote. There is a need to motivate, raise the consciousness of Nigerians, particularly Nigerian voters, to come out and vote en masse, participate actively in the democratic process by choosing the leaders of their choice, and that is the only way they can determine what will happen, and that is the only way they can vote out bad governance and bring in good governance. Because as a whole, generally the turnout is about 25% of the voters register, which is highly negligible. I think there is a need for the relevant agencies of government to conduct a research and to know why there is this level of voter apathy in the country. Laws are not meant to be static. Laws are like organic documents that need to change with dynamism of society. And as a result, it behoves on the National Assembly to bring about changes, the lacuna that they have observed in the implementation or the operation of the Electoral Act during the conduct of the 2023 elections, make the necessary amendments, correct it for purposes of improving on future elections, like the issues of the vivas and what have you. So all the lacuna that was observed in the conduct of the 2023 general elections will definitely be amended by the 10th National Assembly with a view to bringing our elections to be in tandem with international best practice and meet the requirements of Nigerians. First and foremost, I will tell my constituents of Borno North Senatorial District that they should expect more dividends of democracy. They should expect a representation that is responsible, responsive, and accountable to their yearnings and aspirations. They should expect a representation that will jealously guard and protect the mandate they have freely given to me, and that will definitely translate into concrete realities of delivery of dividends of democracy to their doorsteps, leveraging on my experience as a fifth-term member in the House of Representatives and even rising to the principal position of Chief Whip of the House of Representatives. Definitely, these experiences that I've garnered over the years will definitely be of tremendous benefit while I'm serving as a senator in the 10th Senate. We are all products of a political party. Our political party will come out with a zoning formula that will intend to ensure fair and equitable distribution and representation of various interest groups in the country, taking into consideration our fault lines and what have you. So as a loyal party member, I will be guided by the zoning formula that will eventually be brought out by my political party, the APC. I will be guided by it. And right now, my zone, the northeastern part of the country, and particularly my state, we have the vice president elect, which is from we are from the same party with him. So I'm not expecting any big principal position to be zoned to my zone, and more particularly to my state, because in the spirit of fairness and equity.
Meanwhile, the House has considered and approved legislation with provisions to reform the administration and management of customs and excise in Nigeria. The bill seeks to, among others, ensure that only career personnel of the service are appointed Comptroller General of the Nigeria Customs Service.
The draft legislation to reform the Nigeria Customs Service is coming 63 years after the first act came into operation. Some of the changes are in relation to funding, appointments and recruitments in the service.
Whoever is going to be the Comptroller General of Customs, it's going to come within the service. That is, the President shall appoint a career officer not below the rank of Assistant Comptroller General of Customs. Now, the funding is going to come out from this bill. They will be taking their funding from 4% FOB, freight on board.
An overriding benefit of the reform is improving the use of technology to increase revenue generation. This bill had earlier been forwarded to the President for assent, but was returned due to some observations in some of the clauses, which were amended and approved at today's sitting.
The corrections are just reduced to the areas of concern. That's why we are having this document.
Also, the House Committee on National Security and Intelligence submitted the reports of the Conference Committee on a bill to establish the National Center for the Coordination and Control of Proliferation of Small Arms and Light Weapons following its harmonization with the Senate. House members passed for second reading a bill forwarded from the Senate for concurrence, which seeks the establishment of National Food Safety Council and National Food Safety Management Committee,
with the objective of ensuring that food and food safety risks are effectively managed.
The bill has been forwarded to a committee of the whole for further legislative action.
And the House of Representatives has expressed concern over the inefficiency of internet banking services of some commercial banks in the wake of the recent Naira redesign and limit on cash withdrawals policy. Supporting a motion from Representative Sergio Sogun, House members urged the Central Bank of Nigeria to direct commercial banks to overhaul online banking platforms to ease operations.
The lawmakers are worried that Nigerians are recording losses through unsuccessful bank transactions due to hitches in online operations.
Ineffectiveness or difficulty in using internet banking services across the online banking platforms of most commercial banks in Nigeria has brought untold hardship, suffering and difficulties on Nigerians in the past 3 months.
They urge the CBN and commercial banks generally to address the challenges being experienced by customers. The second reading of a bill seeking the amendment of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency Act on cultivation and decriminalization of cannabis for medicinal purposes elicited debate.
For cannabis meant for medicinal purposes, because Mr. Speaker, as you know, most Nigerians are in need of this product and they are going overseas to receive it.
In US, they have liberalized the issue of cannabis. They are now scientifically extracting oils from it.
A research has not been conducted authoritatively in this country to satisfy that cannabis can cure cancer.
It's not a time for it in Nigeria to go towards that direction. No matter the economic benefit,
the medicinal aspect of cannabis has not been established for now.
The traits of the seed cannabis we are talking about is the non-psychoactive. It's not the tetrahydrocannabinoid, which is psychoactive.
I was going by yesterday's bill, which was just talking about licensing for medicinal purpose only. But this one talks about decriminalization and a legal framework for the growth and the sale of cannabis. So you have introduced
poison chalice. You have introduced poison into the bill of yesterday.
The bill was stepped down to allow further consultation. A bill seeking the establishment of Traditional Complementary and Alternative Medicine Council of Nigeria, sponsored by Representative Alex Igbona, passed second reading. 5 bills passed first reading, among them Bill to repeal Electric Power Sector Reform Act and the National Emergency Management Agency Amendment Bill.
What is executive session in parliamentary terms, and why is it conducted behind closed doors? Well, let's find out from Chair of the House Committee on Rules and Business, Abubakar Fulata.
Executive session is a confidential meeting of members of the House where things are discussed freely without the media witnessing or listening, or members of the public. It's an exclusive meeting where confidential matters are discussed by members only. Sometimes they also tolerate the presence of the clerk. If it concerns matters of the National Assembly or interests of members, the clerks are allowed to stay because they are considered part of the members. Yeah, because there is nothing you can hide to them, because they will be the ones, if a decision is taken at the executive session, executive meeting, it is the clerk that will now make sure that such decision is implemented.
And still in the election season, Nigerians encountered on the streets of Abuja have been sharing lessons learned from the process and profiling solutions. Let's take a look.
The most important thing is for Nigerians to be optimistic and be hopeful of whatever comes out. And all we need to do is to pray that God touches the leader's heart and do the needful that will favor the masses. That's what Nigerians have to do. We mustn't kill ourselves over the results of the presidential elections.
It's not a do-or-die affair. You can lose today and win tomorrow. They should come and join hands. The most important thing is to build this nation, to bring us out from suffering.
We should look at the brighter side of things and then allow the process to continue to mature. When we get to full maturation, I do believe that we'll look back and say, yes, we have progressed. But for now, I do not think that the exercise was completely condemnable.
There's a winner, there's a loser. Those people that have lost, they should take it in faith.
All we need now is working for the betterment of the ordinary man. Because we have everything. We have the mineral resources. We have everything that will make the ordinary Nigerian to be happy. But if someone is not happy, it does not look at who win or who lost.
You and your reps engaged Spokesman of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, on his re-election and possible bid for Speakership of the 10th House.
it would have been worse. To be honest, it would have been worse with the way it was blowing. In the north, you had the NMPP, and in the south, you had more of the Labour. The way it was blowing, it would have reduced the number further, and that would have been quite detrimental to the institution of the legislature, because the institution thrives on knowledge and experience. And if you have freshers coming to make laws for the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I can assure you that what they will bake will not have all the elements that's supposed to be incorporated and fueled by experience and knowledge of how things work and what should be considered. So on the basis of that, we thank God that a few of them made it, a few of us made it here. And our job now is to take it to the next level of designing the orientation program of the new members. It's not going to be as it used to be. We will propose that the orientation program be more intense to be able to give out much to the new members so that they can embrace the workings of the legislature. The hands-on experience, the participatory observation is quite different from what you read from books, what you are told. So we're going to make sure that, unlike previous assemblies where the new ones just don't know their left from their right, we'll make sure that we hold their hands and lead them through the 9 years of lawmaking, oversight functions, and also of representation. In any constitutional democracy, the formation of government has a lot to do with the ruling party. And I'm of the belief that since we elected them to be there to see the affairs of the party, we should not jettison their proposition, their ideas after we are elected. So, in the United States and all around the world, the party comes out with that formula. This is how we want the coloration of the legislature to look like. If the party zones it to the southeast, I'll be standing and I will contest fiercely for that position, because it's been a long time that the Southeasterners stood in that position as the Speaker of the House. It's been a long while. We have been Senate President time and time again, but we are longing to be the Speaker of the House, because there's a lot to be done beyond confirmation of appointments. The power of the pause, the appropriation power, is with the House of Representatives, and there's a lot one can do in the whole nation by making sure that the proposals of the executive in their budget is well distributed, to make sure that development in this nation is equitably distributed as allowed by the Constitution of the Federal Republic. When it talks about federal character, one of the things it talks about there is beyond employment, even project distribution must have that character reflected in how we position, we locate, we situate projects around the country. The boldness and the courage of INEC towards implementing the Electoral Act, I celebrate them on that. But I want them to have more courage as they do some of the runoff elections to improve it better, than it was in the last election. So but what is lacking, I must say, what is lacking is the Electoral Offences Commission and what it is expected to do That is where the House, the entire Parliament need to look at and review. But I must say this, the apathy of Nigerians towards the Guba election was too great. What is their sense of registering in high numbers? And on the day of election, you find reasons not to vote.
And that's where we leave it on you and your reps for this week. Many thanks for watching. I am Victor Azo. See you next time.